Hello and welcome to another review. In front of me today I have an interesting product for the Starlink Mini. This is called the Star-Batt Mini from a company called Star-Batt, and basically what this is a completely self-contained mini kit. Now I did that video a while back, the Starlink emergency backup kit, where I had the Starlink Mini in a hard shell case with a battery, portable battery bank in my case. And then the goal of that case was to be able to power the Starlink Mini for short periods of time in like an emergency situation. And a lot of you on the channel on that video mentioned, why didn't you put a bigger battery pack in there? Why didn't you put solar, charging cables, different charging adapters, etc.? And those are all really good points. So I set out to search for something on the market that had all of that, and this is what I came up with. So I reached out to Star-Batt and they agreed to send me this to do a review on it. So I bring it here for you today, and I'm going to be explaining all the features of the Star-Batt Mini and doing some testing on it as well. So let's just jump right in and show you what this product is and what it does, and I'll go over all of what I plan to do with this as I talk. So I'm opening up the Star-Batt Mini. As you can see, it is kind of the foundation of it is this hard shell case that is dustproof, waterproof, so designed to be out in extreme environments. Impact resistant plastic. You have multiple ports on the outside. We'll get to all that, but I just wanted to open up and show you kind of the main part of what this is. So it's interesting because everything is basically engineered in an extremely professional way, all neatly packaged, everything all in one for your Starlink Mini kit. So it's designed actually for basically two methods of installation. You can have a Starlink Mini inside and it works through the plastic, or you can mount it externally as well. So that's what this bracket up here is for. But if we look down below, we can see we have this little plate here with a bunch of information. There's a massive battery underneath here, 576 watt hour battery. And what that can do is charge or keep the Starlink Mini running for up to 24 hours. That's what their claim is from Star-Batt. You also have a bunch of charging options. So as you can see, I took out of here already, this is an AC charging cable for wall power. So this will provide 240 watts from an AC outlet into the Star-Batt, charging it up in about 5 hours from 0 to 100%. They also include this car charging cable. So this also accepts a DC input down here, 12 to 24 volts. And I think this is up to 120 watts. And then and I think it's 160 watts for the solar. So you have not only a huge battery in here, but you also have DC to DC charging built in as well. So this will handle solar, this will handle vehicle charging, this will handle AC charging via the AC power brick that's external. In addition to all that, you have a little display here that shows you your power, your voltage, current amps that it's drawing. You have some auxiliary charging ports, so you can charge up a phone or other devices. A big power button here. And then these are a couple fans to keep everything nice and cool. So the case itself, the whole thing with the battery, excluding the Mini and this power brick and everything, 27 pounds for this case. Pretty heavy, but again, you have tons of battery capacity in there, so that's why. This will operate in temperatures from 32 degrees Fahrenheit all the way up to 122 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's designed for those extreme environments. It's got a lithium iron phosphate battery, and Star-Batt claims up to 2,000 cycles from 100% to 0. So if you're extremely hard on this battery, using it at its extremes every single time, 2,000 cycles. You can extend that up to 6,500 cycles if you change that to 50% discharge instead of 100% discharge. Let's close up the case again, take another look at the outside because I just wanted to show you a couple things. So you have some interesting things here. First of all, pressure relief valve. So if you're taking the Star-Batt Mini from one altitude to another extreme altitude, you can actually equalize the pressure using this valve right here before you open up the case to prevent damaging the seals or making it difficult to open. You have input and output DC jacks here. So this is where you plug in solar or a car charger, and this is where you would plug in the Starlink Mini if you're going to do the external deployment method. Other than that, you have padlock holes here on each side. You have a nice sturdy handle, and then these nice big latches. Other than that, it's a pretty simple, just tough, rugged case. Nice Star-Batt Mini logo there. Pricing on this. Now I wanted to give you all those specs before I talked about the price so that you realize what you were getting for the price. This is $999, so it's $1,000 for this. But it's important to remember that you're getting a huge battery. 576 watt hours is massive. If you were to go on Amazon right now and try to find a 24 volt, 24 amp hour, which is what this is, battery, you're gonna pay at least a couple $100 just for the battery alone. And you also have to remember you get a case with it. You get the solar charger, the DC to DC charger. You get all these external ports. You get the power button. You get the engineered case with the little mini mount in here. All this neatly put together with this plate, everything internally, contained below this plate right here. All that for $1,000. So yes, could you probably build something like this yourself using off-the-shelf parts? It would come together a lot worse looking and a lot less neatly packaged, but you could probably do it for half the price if you wanted to. But that's not what this is intended for. The target market for this is going to be those extreme adventurers and those professionals. Think people like search and rescue, EMS, firefighters, that sort of thing. People that are going into these extreme environments and that need a quickly deployable, all-in-one mini setup. So you could have this, charging in your vehicle with the car charger, the mini self-contained in here. You grab it out, you press the power button, you throw it on the ground, and it just works. You have 24 hours of Wi-Fi. So it's not really intended for people like me, which is like the recreational traveler. Really important to keep that in mind. This is, targeted for those more extreme use cases, those professionals, those extreme outdoor people that need something like this completely self-contained and just aren't interested in doing kind of a DIY solution. So I mentioned solar before. I wanted to point out they also sell a solar panel kit with it. So they'll give you, for a couple $100 more, they'll give you a 160 watt solar panel that can plug right into the input port here. And with that, they claim basically infinite power, infinite runtime, if you have your 160 watt panel and at least 5 hours of direct sunlight. So I've given you all the specs and everything. I think I've covered most of what I wanted to say. Let's get to actually testing this thing, because they claim two things that I really want to test: 24-hour runtime and basically infinite runtime with solar. So I think what I'll do is set this up, get a time lapse going with the GoPro, and I'm gonna hook up my Mini and just see if this thing will last for 24 hours. You got a display right here, so I'll kind of keep an eye on it with the GoPro so that you guys can see how long that battery is lasting on a time-lapse video. And we'll just see. As far as environmental weather right now, I don't expect it to last for that 24 hours, mainly because it's winter here where I'm at, and temperatures, although they're in the 40s and it's sunny right now, it's gonna get down to 35 degrees as a low tonight and then back up into the 40s tomorrow. With lithium ion batteries, your performance is reduced in those colder temperatures, so that's not a knock against the Star-Batt. You just have to keep in mind, that's the reality of lithium ion batteries. So I've got my Starlink Mini here. Let me show you how this goes together, because I'm gonna be testing this in what they recommend for everything except for extreme heat environments. So they say anything below 80 degrees Fahrenheit, you could probably just put it in here inside, run it with the case closed, locked up, completely self-contained, and it'll run like that. And that's the best way to do it. If it's gonna be over 80 degrees Fahrenheit, like if you're in a hot area on a hot day, they recommend mounting it externally using this DC output port. You can use either their included short cable, or you can also use the cable that's included with the Mini, that 50-foot DC cable. That will also work with this port. These are DC 5521 ports, by the way. So I'm gonna mount it internally though, and they have a nice little installation guide. It says the port should face to the left. Just slots in like that, presses down, and these just slide down. I like that. I like that design. Really simple, really easy to get back out of there as well if you ever need to. And then for power, they include this nice little short DC power cable, plugs into the Mini on this side, and then your DC output port right here that's internal, and then you can just close the lid after you turn on the power button here. Yeah, so not sure what I was thinking before. I'm obviously not going to be able to leave this open with the internal mount method to be able to watch the power meter with my GoPro, but I do have it set up anyway on a time-lapse mode. I'm just going to close the case when I start the test, and then it'll give you a nice little time-lapse shot, hopefully over the next 24 hours if the battery lasts. What I'll do is I'll just check in periodically and look at the Starlink app, and then I'll be able to get an exact time from that when it actually cuts the connection off. So the way that this is going to work, I'm going to use the GoPro timer, sort of start the time lapse at the same time that I press the power button. That'll instantly apply power to the Starlink Mini. I'll shut this case down, and then we'll just see how long it lasts. See if that 24-hour claim is accurate. Let's go ahead and do it. Let's start by hitting the power button, and then I'll start the time lapse. Go ahead and close the case, and the timer has started. So I just got onto the iPad connected to the Starlink Mini's network. So I'm connected, and it's downloading a software update right now. I'm not going to let that install, but I just wanted to show you that we are connected and Starlink Mini is up and running. It only took about 4 minutes actually for it to boot up. So it's the test anyway started officially at 1:15 p.m. So we're just about 6 minutes after that, and it's just doing its thing with the software update. Just wanted to double check on the app, make sure that it got online and everything. So I will check this periodically, but we'll just see how long it runs. Good morning. It is the next day. It's been about 21 hours and the Starlink Mini is still online, but I wanted to see if I could just peek at the battery percentage in the case here. It looks like we're still at 27.8%. So pretty good results so far. I definitely think it's going to make it to the 24-hour mark. I checked on the Starlink app, and it was saying that the Mini is using about 22 to 23 watts on average. So that's right around the 24 watt average mark that it needs to hit in order for this 576 watt hour battery to last 24 hours. The GoPro did not work out. The battery did not last long enough. Not sure what happened there. Maybe the cold weather impacted that battery bank a little bit more than the Star-Batt. So that's why that shot didn't complete, but we'll check back when the Starlink Mini finally dies. We've hit the 24-hour mark and we're still online. Everything's going good here. Let's check our capacity by checking out the screen and the Star-Batt Mini here. Still 15.7% indicated. And I just wanted to show you some of the statistics here. So sorry, you can't see this, but this is a iPad screen is not very bright. We're averaging about 21 watts. So by doing the math, 21 times 24 hours, we should be pretty close to depleting this 576 watt hour battery. You can see it is also showing me Starlink is partially obstructed. I'm not sure if that's due to the case or what, but I do have a clear view of the sky, this location. And interestingly, even though it says that it is obstructed, I'm not showing any outages over 2 seconds. This is just from this morning when it was doing the software update. Let's go ahead and do a speed test though, because I did want to do that as well, just to see what the performance was like inside this case. And the Wi-Fi is not really a factor here. The iPad's right next to the Wi-Fi router, obviously. So we're getting about 30 megabits per second down. And it's like about 6 megabits per second up with 36 milliseconds of latency. So about 15% capacity remaining in the Star-Batt Mini. The 24-hour test has passed. Let's check in with you one more time when it actually dies. We'll see the final time. Okay, you join me inside. It's actually the next morning from when I started this 24-hour battery test. I have the Star-Batt Mini charging right now. That's because it died last night. It ran a lot longer than I expected, so I checked the Starlink account dashboard, and that updates the check-in status of your dish every 15 seconds, and found that the dish actually died at 4:36 p.m. So it went into the dark, so I didn't film this outside last night. Decided to just wait until the morning to check in with you guys. So total time for the 24-hour battery test was about 27 hours and 15 minutes for the Star-Batt Mini. So it did last longer than I expected, even with the colder temperatures here that I'm experiencing. So past the 24-hour test, that claim has been verified. Definitely enough power to power your Starlink Mini for more than 24 hours. So I'm gonna get it charged up now, charging up on the AC wall outlet, and I'm gonna get ready for the solar panel test. So here's how I'm gonna do our solar panel test. So Star-Batt claims that if you hook up this 160 watt solar panel to the Star-Batt, you can get basically indefinite runtime for your Starlink Mini. So I'm gonna be testing that, and I probably picked the worst possible day, which is good for real world testing. Let's put it to the real test here. Very cloudy, although it is supposed to clear up a little bit later this afternoon, so not too worried about it. Here's how I have it hooked up. I'm gonna be deploying the Mini in the external mode this time. I've got a short DC power cable coming over here to the output by the handle, and then I've got the solar panels, the input hooked up right here to the Star-Batt Mini on the DC input side. And hope this shows up on camera. Sorry about the plane noise in the background, but you can see the screen there is kind of pulsating there, like the brightness of it going up and down. That's indicating that it's currently charging. So I know I've got an input there, although it is a cloudy day, not very many watts. I am going to prop the panels up at kind of a 30 to 40 degree angle pointing to the south. I'm going to be using the Star-Batt to do that. I just wanted to show you the test setup before I close everything up. So I'm gonna leave it here, and hopefully this will be able to power the Mini for at least 3 days. I think if I can hit 72 hours with it, I'll call it good. I don't need to sit here and try to let it power it for a week or anything like that. We'll see if it can power it for 72 hours. We know it can do at least 27 on the battery alone based on our 24-hour battery test. So let's see if we can get 72 hours with the solar panel. This is actually the best that I could do. So this foldable solar panel, although it's great, it's portable, folds up pretty nicely. Not good for trying to set it up at an angle. It's so flexible that even when I was propping it up against the Star-Batt box here, it just would not hold any kind of angle. It just drooped to the ground. So I've got it setting on the ground. I am still getting some wattage out of it, so that's just how it'll have to be. We'll see how long it can power Starlink Mini. Well, it looks like this solar panel test has come to an early conclusion, mainly due to the weather that I'm having. So I just checked in it last night on the solar panel setup, and it lasted less than, I think it was less than 36 hours. I think we were right around 30-hour mark before the setup finally died with the solar panel and everything. The weather has just not been cooperating. So I've got cloudy, foggy, rainy conditions, and I've had it basically since I started the test. I was expecting the forecast to kind of clear up a little bit and at least give me some partly cloudy weather, but that just did not happen. So this test unfortunately has failed. Not really fault of the Star-Batt, mainly just due to the lack of sunlight, not able to charge this battery bank back up. So I was lucky to get like 10 watts off of this setup in these cloudy, foggy conditions. So it just simply wasn't enough to keep the Star-Batt's battery charged back up. So normally in a solar setup like this, if you're wanting indefinite power, your solar panels have to be able to charge up your batteries every single day. It's only got 24 hours, around 24 hours of capacity to be able to power the Mini. So if I don't get a full charge, it's only gonna last 24 hours before the battery is completely dead. So really can't afford to have multiple days of cloudy weather like this. There's just not enough solar capacity here to be able to power this power bank, charge it up while also powering the Mini. So unfortunately not able to complete this solar test. I'll have to bring that to you in another video in the future, because checking the forecast, the weather is going to be as it is right now for at least the next 5 to 6 days. So unfortunately have to cut this test short. So inconclusive on the claim that you can have indefinite power. I have no doubt though in theory that it should be able to, because you got 160 watts of solar. Even assuming you can charge at 100 watts for 4 or 5 hours a day, should be able to charge up that battery bank and continue to get day after day after day of operation with the Mini that's just drawing about 21 watts or so. So we'll wrap up the testing of the Star-Batt, get it all packed up inside, and I'll give you my final thoughts. My thoughts on the Star-Batt Mini. So look, obviously this is a very niche product. Something like this, you know, a big battery and a super rugged case is not going to appeal to a wide part of the Starlink audience, but I think we can all appreciate what it's really for, which is those professional applications, those kind of hardcore adventure applications where you just want something simple, reliable, and rugged. And that's what the Star-Batt Mini is. So you get this completely integrated unit with big battery that can power the Starlink Mini for more than 24 hours, as I found out. You get the super rugged case that protects it all. You get built-in charging, whether it's solar or car charging, and you can also charge it from a wall outlet if you really want to. In addition to that, they give you some solar panel options so that in theory you could run this, you know, indefinitely as long as you had enough sunlight, which I did not have in my test. So yeah, for $1,000 and what this really is, probably not going to appeal to a lot of you on the channel, especially if you're like me, which is just, you know, a recreational camper that uses Starlink Mini, you know, for the occasional trip in a travel trailer or a road trip. But I think we can all appreciate this particular piece of hardware and the engineering and all the features that went into this thing. My time, you know, testing it out was great. It was super interesting to see how they put this together. They fit such a massive battery in a case that, you know, you can carry around. It's heavy, but you can still carry this thing around. What I think this thing is for and who I think this will appeal to are those professionals, like I had mentioned in the intro of this video. If you are, you know, a first responder or search and rescue, something like that, where you're going out into the field, you're going out into rugged environments, and you want some kind of communication system that is super reliable, super easy to set up. With this, you literally just hit a power button, close the lid, throw it in an open field, somewhere with a clear view of the sky, and you have Wi-Fi for up to 24 hours. More than that if you hook a solar panel up to it. So those type of customers I think would be interested in the Star-Batt Mini even at this price. And I kind of found out early on because when I reached out to Star-Batt initially to try to get one of these to test out, they actually said, hey, you have to wait a little bit because right now we're dealing with Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton down in the southeast United States. And we're sending all of our pre-production units down there to help out with that disaster recovery effort. And so that right there shows you what Star-Batt is all about and what the company priorities are and who they're kind of targeting as far as their clientele. And it may not necessarily be, you know, you and me as recreational Starlink users, but there is a place for products like this. And I'm happy to, you know, give exposure to this type of product and let people know what it's all about. All that being said, would I recommend this to, you know, your organization if you do search and rescue or you do disaster relief efforts? Absolutely. This is super simple to use and operate. I think anybody could figure it out. Throw the Mini inside. It doesn't even need to be externally mounted in any way. You just press the power button, make sure it's charged up, and you're good to go. You've got Wi-Fi access for anyone standing in the immediate area of this case. Put it somewhere with a decent view of the sky, and you're good to go. Can't get much more simple than that. Like I had mentioned, you could definitely build something like this if you're a DIYer for a lot less money, but if you're one of those organizations, those professionals, you simply don't want to do that. That's not in the cards. You'd rather just work with a company like Star-Batt and get these deployed as quickly as possible at scale. So if that's you and you're interested in something like the Star-Batt Mini, check out the description of this video for my referral link and also a coupon code that will give you $100 off of your Star-Batt Mini purchase. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you never miss any future videos. Leave me a comment in the discussion area below if you have any feedback or questions about the Star-Batt Mini. As always, really appreciate you watching, and we'll see you in the next video.